Hey guys, it's Cyrus of Chaos. I'm here today with the legendary Lee Kiefer. She won the Olympics and she has been absolutely on fire since then. So today we're going to watch this bout between Lauren Scruggs and Kateryna Budenko from the semifinals of Junior World Championships in Dubai this year. So I'm going to let Lee introduce herself and talk a little bit about why we're picking this bout, and then we're going to start watching. So, Lee, take it away.
Thanks for having me here. There are so many strong upcoming women's foil athletes, and I feel like we should respect them, be excited for their skill, and just keep watching them into the next few years and see what they're going to bring. Lauren Scruggs and Kateryna Budenko both are pretty experienced when it comes to world championships. I believe this was
You could say that.
Lauren's fourth world championship team, and I think Kateryna's fifth. So both of them definitely hungry for medals.
And not just Lauren's fourth team, it's like her fourth. I mean, if you're counting both cadet and junior as one, it's like her fifth world championship title or something, right?
Right, yes. She has racked up so many medals, including a double gold where she got junior and cadet world champion in the same year in 2019, I believe.
Yeah, that was crazy. And
so crazy. I can't even fathom.
Yeah, especially for someone so young to be so consistent. It shows like a lot of experience beyond what you'd expect from someone at that age. So she's really impressive.
Yes, a lot of good things to come for her.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, so on that note, we're going to start watching the bout.
Representative would be and pick up the medal tonight.
Lauren is very physically strong. From my own personal experience fencing her, she is so good on the blade and is so confident moving forward. So I'm sure Kateryna also has that in her mind going into this bout.
Would you want to be extra defensive against someone like that, or put a little bit of counter pressure on them to like prevent them from moving forward so comfortably?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it depends on what your comfort level is at baseline or how you're fencing that day. But usually I would like to put a little pressure on myself.
Gotcha.
So yeah, as you can see, Lauren, very aggressive, pushing forward from the start.
That's an interesting call. That's something that happens in Sabre more recently, that they both stop, and the person who starts first with their feet gets the reprise action no matter how slight it was. So even though that was very small, she did start like a little bit ahead, and that in Sabre would also be enough to get you a touch.
Who knocked out the number 2 seed.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is ref dependent. I've had both ways called for me this season.
Gotcha, that's interesting.
Maintain that quite effectively all day.
That was nice. Very patient, looking for the distance, trying to get Lauren to finish her attack before she starts.
Let's watch that one more time.
She's maintained that quite effectively all day.
Yeah, that was very ungreedy from Budenko, if you will.
Those are the most satisfying touches, just getting away and then being able to extend your arm.
Yeah.
Scruggs off target.
Yeah, at the beginning of these World Championship medal bouts, even at Senior World Cup finals, I'm always feel nervous. I think both athletes are just trying to feel out the bout at this point.
Post is off target. Would you say Lauren's biggest strength. That's not the right way to put it. What do you think her strongest action is?
So Lauren is patient on her approach and has killer acceleration. And what separates her, which makes her way better than I was at that age, is she's on the blade a lot. And I feel like that helps you find your target and have a little bit more control.
I think it's so important, not just for that, but it also kind of disrupts the counterattack, which is so strong in foil.
Definitely.
So again, as someone like Budenko, would you want to like counter that with more blade presence of your own, or just add more disengages to try to make it harder for someone like Lauren to find the blade? Or again, it depends on the person that you're fencing.
Yeah, when someone's looking for the blade a lot, that is also an opportunity to score. If you are feinting, especially on defense, it's an opportunity to do a stop hit or find that moment to close when they're searching. I would say Budenko is a defensive fencer, so I understand why that's probably in her mindset at the beginning of the bout, trying to use that tactic to score on Lauren.
And I think the entirety of this bout, other than like maybe a couple steps, has been from Lauren's on guard line to Budenko's end line.
Yes. There's some days where you're having so much success going forward that why try to fix something that's not broken?
Yeah, makes sense. She's having a lot of success with her attack right now, so.
Yeah, and Lauren's one of those people, when they're in a flow, they can score really fast. And I feel like she's feeling comfortable and confident right now.
Yeah. Fencing is definitely very momentum-based, and something that I think that a lot of young people especially don't do well is when the opponent is on a little run, they just keep getting back on guard, like, all right, let me fix this. But sometimes you just want to take a second to not only think about what's going on, but also, like, ice the other person a little bit and kind of cool down their momentum.
Definitely fix your hair, tie your shoe.
Something.
All good strategies.
Scruggs off target.
Wow, nice angle.
Yeah. Yeah, Lauren also has a very strong infighting game too. Something to watch out for.
Yeah, let's watch that one again in slow motion. I want to see. Wow. It didn't look like she had much of an angle to hit there at all, but she still found the target.
Yeah. And again, Lauren is very strong. So if she's able to get the right of way, especially that close, it's very hard to handle that.
She's not missing a whole lot. She's finishing off target sometimes when she gets close, but she's really not missing much when she gets in distance to be able to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Which should also make Budenko a little uncomfortable because stepping in is not really much of an option at that point.
Yeah, I think so. Since Lauren was very explosive and successful with her long attacks earlier on, I think she's trying to get closer and try to go for more second intention actions, which, based off seeing her fence other bouts and my own experience, I feel like that is her bread and butter. She's either going for that second intention with a blade or second intention, like closing in with a counter attack too.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Like close out.
I was gonna say, just as I say that Lauren is having a lot of success hitting when she enters distance, she's missed the last 2 attacks from close distance.
Yeah. Good adjustment by Budenko.
Oh, nice counter parry.
Missed her repost, and Budenko's able to get a remise. Yeah, she's definitely making Lauren feel more uncomfortable at this point.
What do you think she's changed exactly?
I do think she's being more successful at getting the distance closer. Not in fighting close, but she's able to either get the remise. I would say most of them are remises, and Lauren is just frustrated by missing. When I was that age, I always wanted the right of way. Like, I wanted it on my attack. I wanted it on my repost.
Attacking's more fun.
It is. It's much more fun. But sometimes when you're a little bit persistent with that, it leads to some missing and frustration.
Yeah. I also want to say I think it's really smart of her to change her weapon here. Even if the weapon's working fine, just like we were saying before, when someone has momentum and is scoring a lot of touches quickly, you want to just take a second to ice them and think about this. And she may have thought there was nothing wrong with her weapon. She may not trust it anymore. But regardless, she took a few seconds to think about what was going on. And now she's, kind of taken the momentum away from Budenko a little bit. So
Definitely well timed.
there are only a couple seconds left in the period, but still, like you're being scored on fast and easy. Now's a good time to pause things.
Nice attack.
And now I guess we're just going to the second period. So if you were giving advice to the athletes, what would you say to them?
Yeah. So for Lauren, I would say that she should trust her defense, and I think she can take a little bit more time and more steps backwards and try to open that distance, especially if Budenko is closing in on her. But also keep confidence with that attack, especially off the line. She's so explosive, and it's hard for people to prepare for that. Budenko, based off her success at the end of the first period, I would say she should keep pushing a little bit, get her distance close, but continue not to rush with it. Try to find that where she can angle in her blade, mix in repost and closeouts. But like, as I said, Lauren was really successful off the line. Like, I think she needs to be really ready. Budenko needs to be ready to not let Lauren have that moment.
Respect the first moment when the fencing starts.
Exactly. When I'm talking to a lot of the younger fencers at my club, I tell them they need to make decisions. Like, there's moments for working and playing and finding the time, but sometimes, especially if the bout's pace has increased, like, make a decision. Do you go in? Do you go out? And your chances of not getting scored on increase immensely.
That makes sense. I think also a lot of the time when you're hit with something that's almost like a border case, like in foil, especially in women's foil, there's not a lot of attacking really aggressively off the line. The way that I handle that myself as a competitor is I kind of almost roll my eyes at myself for getting hit by something like that, and then I'm just like, all right, going forward, I need to give that situation more respect and be ready for that sort of like a border case tactic. Does that make sense in foil also?
Definitely. And based off my Grand Prix this past weekend, I would say having the ability to go off the line and being comfortable is huge. Not for just scoring in that moment, but being able to set up other actions later in the bout.
Mm-hmm.
And both of these athletes are young, experienced in some ways. But at this point, I would say their experience on the senior level is small enough that they have a lot of time and room to improve in their middle game.
Makes sense. And on that note, we're going to start again. Ooh, good acceleration by Budenko.
Yeah.
And Lauren is still ready for it. That's some of the strength you were talking about in the legs.
Yeah. So kind of like we talked about, Budenko is going forward a little bit more assertively, and Lauren is using her legs backwards more.
Mm-hmm. And there's another remise there.
Mm-hmm. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, those remises from close distance are really doing a lot of work for her.
Yeah, the timing is definitely a little bit uncomfortable for Lauren. So,
well, really? I wasn't.
I think they're gonna change it.
Yeah.
That was a pretty nice slow approach, patient finish. I don't believe she stopped or pulled her arm back at a wrong moment.
Especially because Budenko is very clearly closing out there.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
I honestly think she may have had at least an argument for attack and prep if she hadn't done that at the end, but she did, so.
I agree with that assessment.
Yeah. Okay, good call.
Easy change.
Easy. I always respect when wow, really good footwork going backwards. One cross step, but still good upper body, and then the rest of it is just all really clean, precise footwork going backwards.
Definitely. I've always found defense a million more times challenging than attacking.
Really?
Being able to stop someone is hard, and then once you stop someone, like having the ideas of like, what do you do with it?
Again, really good footwork.
Yeah, I felt like her distance is a little bit bigger on her defense, which was obviously effective there.
You're saying bigger than it was earlier in the bout?
Yeah, so a lot of times when people take a repost and someone closes in, they just whiff. And so when you take the repost, you take a step back, it gives you more
space to
time
see. Yeah,
to
that
find
makes
the
sense.
target.
Woo!
Backline action. Love it.
So patient. Oh my God, really good defense and even better offense.
So Lauren was just persistent there with her remise. I'm surprised Budenko's not going forward a little bit harder, but having the experience of fencing Lauren is really tough pushing. So she probably is trying to find that moment and is just having trouble.
Budenko's not being very active on defense. Wow. Persistence is the perfect word to describe what happened there.
Yes.
Sean seems happy.
That's what a lot of bouts come down to. It's not the most perfect, pretty fencing in the medal rounds because everyone's tired. But you have to want it, especially, make yourself focus the last 5 touches.
That was another one of the line touches that you were talking about before.
Really nice. She did an advance and then a half step lunge and just accelerated into her. It was a great touch.
Yeah, that's almost like a classic saber attack and prep.
And it's very advanced how she's starting her first steps slow. A lot of times people just rush off the line and then get hit in preparation. But Lauren, very good.
Yeah. You can tell she's really respecting the first zone situation. Again, nice remise.
I'm not sure. She
Oh, no, it actually was a
like
parry.
that.
Yeah, it was a parry.
Counter parry.
I'm watching it muted. But yes, there was definitely a parry there. Wow.
But yeah, the bout, Lauren's getting closer to 15, so I feel like Budenko needs to get on a run.
Wasn't the score 8-7 a second ago?
Yeah. Going into the second, it was really close.
Ooh!
Nice.
That was just pure confidence right there.
Flash flick to the chest. I know that, you and I were messaging about flicking a woman's foil yesterday, a few days ago.
Yes.
So I would say that I feel like everyone should be able to do a chest flick if you're like a lefty-righty matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an important skill to be able to have that target, throw in your tip. And Lauren is very good at that.
It just opens more angles than you have access to if you're just hitting straight all the time.
For sure.
I think I cut you off. What were you about to say?
No, I don't think you cut me off.
Okay. That was a very good bout, and it really completely turned around after the break between periods, where the score was 8-6, then Budenko got 1 touch, and then Lauren got 7 touches in a row.
Yes.
So what was the... Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I would say, like, going into the second period, I would say that Lauren had a little bit more energy and was a little bit more disciplined with her game plan. I felt like she was moving more, trying to set up her distance and timing. And I thought that Budenko started out really strong, kind of pushing, getting those second intention actions we were talking about, but she did not keep up with that plan, even though I felt it was working.
Mm-hmm. In the beginning of this part of the bout, it seemed like an adjustment she was trying to make, at least to me, was she was trying to push Lauren into her own side of the strip. But then, because she was doing that, she got hit in prep, I think, at least once, maybe twice, and then I think she kind of lost confidence in that plan, and Lauren started pushing her again, which is kind of her comfort zone.
Definitely. I think she would have had a lot of success if she had gone for the long finish on some of hers, just to mix that in and confuse Lauren. Mm-hmm. Sometimes with people who like to attack a lot, if you score an attack on them and you make them nervous, they're going to kind of rush at you faster, and it opens up your options.
That's interesting.
As I know, as that person who attacks.
That's interesting. And then also, I find
really
that also when your defense is less successful, it makes you less confident attacking as well, because if you're confident on defense, it's like, all right, if I miss this attack, it's not a big deal. I just get to defend myself. But then if your defense is not working, it's like, this attack means so much more, because if I don't hit it, I'm probably going to get scored on myself. And so I find that defense is kind of like the foundation that holds things together a lot of the time. And when that's not working well, you're going to have a problem doing a lot of other things in your game.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I would say, for me personally, my confidence on defense is the first to go. So kind of having that mentality in the bout of trusting yourself, like, I can go forward, I can go backwards. Like, even when your coach tells you, like, something is working better, like, of course, listen and take that in. But at the same time, being like, I'm a versatile fencer. Like, I'm here in the finals of world. I clearly can do everything well. And I feel like just, end of the day, you need to trust yourself, because a lot of it is instinct, but then pushing your instinct a little bit to open up your skills again.
Makes sense.